My girlfriend told me I wouldn't fit in with her friends anyway, so she doesn't invite me to their hangouts. Turns out she has been systematically destroying my reputation for over a year. The reckoning is coming. I am shaking as I write this because I just discovered something so twisted about the woman I have loved for 2 years that I can barely process it, but I need to get this out before I lose my mind. Clara said those exact words to me 3 weeks ago during what I thought was a minor disagreement. You wouldn't fit in with my friends anyway, Ethan. You are just different from us. She said it with such casual dismissal, like I was some socially awkward burden she had to manage. Say a little more. Clara has these regular girls' nights with her college friends Sarah, Jen, and Amy. I have always been supportive because I believe in healthy independence in relationships. I play video games, hang with my own friends. Never complained. The perfect understanding boyfriend. But last weekend, I ran into Mike, Amy's boyfriend, at the grocery store. He mentioned how much fun Saturday night was with everyone, and how we should do it again soon. Saturday was Clara's girls' night. When I looked confused, Mike got this deer in headlights expression and started backpedaling hard. Oh, I meant, Amy told me about it. The whole interaction felt wrong. That night, I casually asked Clara about it. Her entire demeanor changed. She got defensive. Said sometimes the girls invite their boyfriends, but it is usually just relationship talk that wouldn't interest me. Then came the crushing blow. Besides, you probably wouldn't fit in with the group anyway. You are just different from them. Different how? I pressed. She couldn't explain it. Just kept saying we have different interests and senses of humor. This, from someone who has been with me for over 2 years. Here is what is eating me alive. I have bent over backwards to be supportive of her friendships. I have encouraged her to maintain her independence. I have never once tried to insert myself into their group. And apparently, that consideration has been rewarded with systematic exclusion and casual contempt. But here is the thing that has really got my blood boiling. I have a feeling there is so much more to this story, and I am about to find out exactly how different I really am. Edit. The responses are overwhelming. A lot of you are saying to investigate further. Trust me, I am already 3 steps ahead of you. Edit 2. For those asking if I suspect she is cheating, honestly, that is not even my primary concern anymore. This feels bigger than that. This feels like something that is going to change everything I thought I knew about her. Edit 3. Update coming in a few days. I need to confirm some things first. Update 1. Update a bit. The original post blew up more than I expected. Thank you to everyone who told me to trust my instincts. You were right, God. You were so right. I took the advice about direct confrontation, but I also did something I never thought I would do. I followed my gut and did some investigating first. I am glad I did, because what I discovered has turned my entire relationship upside down. After Mike's weird reaction, I couldn't let it go. Saturday night rolled around. Another girls' night. Clara left at 6 p.m. with the usual story about dinner and movies at Sarah's place. Around 10 p.m., I decided to grab some beer and drove past this sports bar we had been to a few times. And there they were through the window. I could see Clara, Sarah, Jen, Amy, and all 3 of their boyfriends at a big table, laughing and having what looked like the time of their lives. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, just staring. They weren't hiding. This was just a regular group hangout. Without me. Clara came home at midnight talking about exhausting girl talk and Sarah's terrible movie choices. She lied directly to my face with such practiced ease that I realized this wasn't the first time, or the 10th. But here is where it gets nuclear. I couldn't sleep that night, so I did something desperate. I found Amy on social media and messaged her, saying I wanted to plan something special for Clara and needed to coordinate with her friends. Amy was sweet enough to give me her number. The phone call that followed destroyed everything I thought I knew about my relationship. I worked up the courage to ask Amy why I never get invited to group things. I tried to sound casual, like I was just curious. There was this long, uncomfortable pause. Then Amy said, "Oh, honey, I think that is something you need to talk to Clara about." I pressed gently, and Amy finally said, "Look, I don't want to cause problems, but Clara always makes it sound like you wouldn't want to come. She says, "You think we are all kind of shallow and boring." My heart stopped. I asked for specifics. Amy was hesitant, but eventually told me that Clara has spent months painting me as this judgmental intellectual who looks down on them. According to Clara, I have called their wine nights basic, said Sarah's marketing job was corporate sellout stuff, and made comments about how their conversations lack substance. I have never said any of these things. I barely know enough about Sarah's job to have opinions about it. I have always encouraged Clara's friendships and asked her to invite them over more. But Amy kept going, and each revelation was like a knife twisting deeper. Clara told them I think their relationship problems are trivial drama, and that I get visibly bored when they talk about their lives. She said I once called their group dynamic high school cliquey, and that I prefer intellectual conversations to their surface-level stuff. Every single word was a lie, but Amy believed it all because, why wouldn't she? Clara's my girlfriend. She should know me better than anyone. The worst part, Amy said, we all kind of figured you didn't like us, so we stopped suggesting Clara invite you. We didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I was so stunned I could barely speak. After we hung up, I just sat there trying to process the magnitude of what Clara had done. She didn't just exclude me from her friend group. She systematically destroyed any possibility of me having relationships with these people by creating a completely fictional version of me, one designed to make them think I was an arrogant, judgmental asshole who looked down on them. And the girls' nights. They are group hangouts where everyone brings their boyfriends except Clara, because she has convinced everyone that her boyfriend is too good for them. I haven't confronted her yet because I am still processing this betrayal, but I think I finally understand what different means. I am different because I am the only one not invited. I am different because I am the only boyfriend who has been systematically excluded from a friend group by his own girlfriend's lies. The woman I love has been sabotaging my relationships and lying to my face for months, maybe longer. And for what? Because it was easier than actually dealing with whatever her real issues are. I don't know who Clara is anymore. The woman I thought I knew would never do something this calculated and cruel, but I am about to find out exactly who she really is. Edit. Reading all these responses is helping me realize this is emotional abuse. I never thought Clara was capable of this level of manipulation, but here we are. Edit 2. Several people are asking what I am going to do. Don't worry. I have a plan. And Clara is about to learn that I fit in just fine, especially when it comes to having difficult conversations about truth and consequences. Edit 3. Confrontation happening tomorrow night. I need to be smart about this. Update 2. I am writing this from my buddy James' couch because I couldn't spend another night in that apartment after what happened. I don't even know where to begin. I confronted Clara last night, and the conversation revealed layers of deception and manipulation that I am still trying to process. This wasn't just about exclusion or even lies. This was about discovering that the person I thought I loved has been actively working against me for our entire relationship. When Clara got home from work, I was ready. I had spent the day preparing, going over everything Amy had told me, building a case in my mind. I told her we needed to talk about something important. I know about the group hangouts, I said directly. I know they are not girls' nights, and I know what you have been telling your friends about me. The look on her face was everything I needed to see. Pure panic, followed quickly by calculation. I watched her scramble for a strategy in real time. Her first move was aggression. She exploded at me for going behind her back and violating her privacy. She was furious that I had contacted Amy, called it a betrayal of trust. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so infuriating. When she realized anger wasn't working, she switched tactics. Tears. Lots of them. She started sobbing about how sorry she was, how it got out of hand, how she never meant for it to go this far. But I wasn't falling for it this time. I had had weeks to prepare for her manipulation playbook. Explain the comments Amy mentioned, I said. Tell me why she thinks I called them shallow and boring. That is when Clara's story started falling apart. She couldn't explain specifics. She kept saying things like, I was just venting, and you are taking it out of context. But when I asked her to provide the context, she had nothing. Then I asked the question that broke everything wide open. Clara, have you been complaining about me to your friends for our entire relationship? The silence stretched on forever. She couldn't look at me, just kept crying and saying she was sorry. So I asked differently, when did you start telling them I thought I was better than them? And that is when she finally cracked. It started early, she whispered. We were going through that rough patch in our first year. Remember, when we were fighting about money and your career change? I was frustrated and needed to vent to someone, I remembered. I had been laid off and was struggling to find direction. Clara had been stressed about finances. We had had some serious arguments about responsibility and priorities. It was a difficult time, but we had worked through it. I told them about our fights, she continued. But when things got better between us, it was easier to not mention that part. They already had this impression of you as difficult and judgmental. And sometimes, when I was mad at you about little things, it felt good to have people on my side. The calculated cruelty of it hit me like a physical blow. She had created a support network based on lies, a group of friends who would always validate her grievances because they thought they were comforting her about her difficult boyfriend. So you kept feeding them stories, I said, making me the villain every time you were frustrated. She nodded, still unable to look at me. It snowballed. Every time I complained about anything, you leaving dishes in the sink, working late, wanting to stay in instead of going out, I framed it as evidence of your personality flaws. Over time, I created this narrative where you were this judgmental, antisocial boyfriend who thought he was better than everyone. The worst part was coming. Eventually, she said, her voice barely audible, it became easier to believe the narrative myself. Keeping you separate from them meant I never had to deal with the contradiction between who you actually are and who I had told them you were. I felt something die inside me in that moment. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated emotional manipulation designed to isolate me from potential friendships while giving her a constant source of validation for any relationship grievance, no matter how trivial. Do you understand what you have done? I asked her. You have spent over 2 years systematically poisoning every potential friendship I could have had with your friends. You have created a version of me that doesn't exist and used it to justify excluding me from your social life. You have lied to me, lied to them, and lied to yourself. She kept saying she was sorry, that she wanted to fix it, that she had talked to her friends and explained everything. But I realized something sitting there listening to her tearful promises. I didn't want her to fix it, because this wasn't about one mistake or one lie. This was about discovering that my girlfriend doesn't know how to be in a partnership. Instead of dealing with relationship challenges together, she had chosen to manage her emotions by systematically destroying my reputation and then lying to my face about it for years. How could I ever trust her again? How could I know that the next time she was frustrated with me, she wouldn't just find new people to complain to? How could I build a future with someone whose response to relationship stress was to create fictional versions of me to trash talk to others? I told her I needed time to think, but I already knew what I was going to do. I packed a bag while she sobbed in the bedroom, begging me not to leave, promising she would make it right. But there was no making this right. She had shown me who she really is, and I finally believed her. I am staying at James indefinitely while I look for my own place. It has been 24 hours, and Clara has called and texted non-stop. Apologies, promises, desperate pleas. But I am done. She made her choice every single time she decided to lie about me instead of talking to me. Now, I am making mine. Edit. To everyone asking if I am going to talk to her friends directly, I am not sure yet. Part of me wants them to know the truth, but another part thinks that is Clara's mess to clean up. Edit 2. James' girlfriend just told me something interesting. Apparently James mentioned our situation to her, and she said Clara's behavior reminded her of her ex who used relationship triangulation to maintain control. I am looking this up and it is terrifying how accurately it describes what Clara did. Edit 3. One more update coming. Clara's latest messages are revealing. Final update, this will be my final post about this situation. The last week has been a whirlwind that completely vindicated everything you all told me about Clara's character. After my last update, I decided not to reach out to Clara's friends directly. I figured if Clara wanted to salvage those relationships, she could deal with the consequences of her lies herself. I had no obligation to clean up her mess. But Clara made that decision for me. Apparently, in her desperation to get me back, Clara called Amy and told her a version of our breakup that was, let's say, creative. According to James' girlfriend, who heard this through their social network, Clara told Amy that I had had a jealous meltdown about not being invited to group events and was punishing her by breaking up. Amy, being a decent person, was concerned about Clara's well-being. So she did what good friends do. She reached out to check on the situation. Amy called me Tuesday night. "Ethan," she said, "I hope you don't mind me calling. But Clara told me about your breakup, and I wanted to make sure you are okay. She said you were really upset about the group thing we talked about." I could hear the genuine concern in her voice, and I realized that Amy had no idea what Clara had actually done. In Clara's version of events, I was the unreasonable one having jealous outbursts about normal social boundaries. So I told Amy the truth. All of it. I explained that Clara had spent years creating a fictional version of me to justify excluding me, that every negative thing she had told them about me was a complete fabrication, and that I had broken up with Clara not because of jealousy, but because I had discovered the systematic manipulation and lies. Amy was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Oh my God, Ethan, I need to call the other girls." What happened next was beautiful karma. Amy, Sarah, and Jen had a group call that night where they went through every story Clara had told them about me. When they compared notes, they realized the extent of Clara's lies. Apparently, the stories were so detailed and consistent that none of them had questioned them. But when they examined them together, the narrative fell apart. Sarah remembered that Clara had claimed I called her job corporate sellout stuff, but she would never actually talk to me about her work. Jen realized that Clara said I found their conversations boring, but I had never been present for any of their conversations. Amy noted that all of Clara's complaints about me were vague personality criticisms, rather than specific incidents. They also realized something I hadn't even considered. Clara's stories about me had gotten progressively worse over time, always perfectly timed to justify excluding me from upcoming events. It was like she was manufacturing reasons to keep me away. The three of them decided to confront Clara together. Yesterday, Clara apparently received a very cold group video call where her friends demanded explanations for the lies she had told about me. From what James' girlfriend heard, small social circles, it didn't go well for Clara. When confronted with specific examples of her lies, Clara apparently tried to claim she had been protecting them from my difficult personality, and that she would never meant to lie but had just been managing group dynamics. Sarah apparently told Clara that if she had been that unhappy with me, she should have broken up with me instead of lying about me to her friends for years. Jen said that using their friendship as a support system for a fake narrative was manipulative and unfair to everyone involved. But Amy delivered the killing blow. "Clara, if Ethan is really the person you described to us, why were you with him for almost 3 years? Either you lied to us about who he is, or you stayed with someone you didn't respect for years, while complaining about him behind his back. Either way, it says something terrible about your character." Clara apparently broke down completely, admitted to the lies, and begged them to forgive her. But the damage was done. They told her they needed space to process what they had learned about her character. The group chat that Clara had been part of for years. She is no longer in it. The friend group that she had manipulated to exclude me, they have excluded her. And the best part? Amy texted me yesterday to apologize for believing Clara's lies, and to say that if I ever wanted to grab a drink and meet the group properly, they would love to get to know the real me. I haven't decided if I will take them up on that offer. This whole situation has left me pretty wary of social dynamics. But the vindication feels incredible. Clara has been texting me non-stop since her friends confronted her. The messages have evolved from desperate apologies to anger to bargaining to threats to block her number. She is furious that I destroyed her friendships and turned everyone against her. But I didn't destroy anything. Clara spent years building a house of lies, and when the foundation cracked, the whole thing collapsed. All I did was tell the truth when asked directly. The woman who told me I wouldn't fit in with her friends has discovered that she is the one who doesn't fit in with people who value honesty and integrity. The woman who spent years lying about me to create a support network based on fictional grievances has lost that support network entirely. The karma is perfect. Clara worked so hard to keep me away from her friends that she ended up keeping herself away from them instead. As for me, I am doing better than I have in years. I am seeing a therapist to process the manipulation and gaslighting I experienced. I am reconnecting with my own friends who actually know and like the real me. and I am looking forward to dating someone who wants to include me in their life, not systematically exclude me from it. I learned something crucial from this experience. When someone shows you who they are through their actions, believe them the first time. Clara showed me that she was someone who would lie to me, about me, and for her own convenience. I ignored those red flags because I loved who I thought she was, not who she actually demonstrated herself to be. But I also learned something else. The truth has a way of coming out, and people who build relationships on lies eventually discover that lies make a very unstable foundation. Clara wanted me to know that I was different from her friends. She was right. I am different. I tell the truth. I treat people with respect, and I don't manipulate situations to get what I want. And apparently, her friends appreciate those differences more than she ever did. Edit. Thank you to everyone who followed this journey and offered support. Your messages helped me realize that I wasn't crazy and that I deserved better treatment. Edit 2. For those asking about Clara's reaction to losing her friends, I honestly don't know and don't care. She made her choices for years. Now she gets to live with the consequences. Edit 3. To everyone saying I should meet up with Amy and the group, I might. It would be interesting to finally meet the people Clara spent so long convincing me I wouldn't like. But I am taking things slow and focusing on rebuilding my trust in relationships generally.